Hey there, Laurel Beard here today with a little bit of a different video because I'm just trying out a new product. I got this Distress Resist spray that we saw at Creativation earlier this year, and I literally got it in the mail, turned on my video camera, and just started playing. So I'm just trying it out. It's almost like I'm doing it live with you here for this Distress Resist spray. So the first thing I tried was the Distress Resist spray. I'm gonna have a hard time saying that, and some embossing powder. So I'm working in a box. I know Tim said when he was demoing it, work in a box because this stuff is going to stick to whatever you spray it on. So make sure you work in a box with walls because if it gets stuck on something, it's there forever. I went ahead and sprinkled on some gunmetal embossing powder from Reinker while that spray was wet. It dries very quickly, I think about a minute, he said. So you got to work quickly when you're going to do the embossing powder, I found. And then I'm going to go in and add some color. Another thing I found when I was playing is it seems to work better or show better when you use very bright, vivid colors. And I'm going to show you that in the next example here. For this example, I wanted to create big splatters, so I sprayed very close to the cardstock. But you can also create beautiful mists as well, and I'll show you how I did that here. So I'm going to spray up close, and that's going to create those big splatters, and then I'm misting all over from afar, from far away, and that's going to create the mist. Now I'm going in here with some hot chocolate embossing powder from Nuvo, and you can see it's sticking to everything that's wet. Again, you have to move very quickly when you want to emboss. You have to sprinkle it on that wet spray before it dries, and it dries pretty quickly. And you can see I've got those splatters, but I also have that beautiful mist as well. Now, the easiest way to apply color is with Distress spray stains. So I'm going in with some squeezed lemonade and some warm lipstick and some peacock feathers, and I'm just really bright, bold colors. And I'm giving it a once around so everything moves around, and then when it dries, will you look how pretty that is and all that texture. It also has a very textured feel to it as well. It's not incredibly smooth. So now we're going to go in and do a little stenciling. So I have the Altenew Leaf Burst stencil. I'm going to put it right over some cardstock and I'm going to mist it, spray it from above, and I'm going to quickly clean that straight away into a bucket of water. You can actually see this white stuff coming off into the water. You got to clean it quick. If it dries on your stencil is no more. So again, I sprinkled on some embossing powder here. And now I'm going to put on some really bold colors. So warning, warning, warning. This time I sprayed the paper first, and I'm dropping in some chipped Sapphire Distress Refill and some Seedless Preserves Distress Refill. And I tell you, I just like how it pops off with these bright, bold colors. I feel like you can see the background more, especially if you're not heat embossing, which I will show you a sample of that in a minute. So I really like that one, believe it or not, even though it's like kind of like an in-your-face background. So I'm putting some squeezed lemonade and cracked pistachio Distress spray stains and water, and I'm putting it on this card base. Now I actually already sprayed this cardstock with that through that leaf stencil that I just used a second ago. You can kind of see the leaves forming up there at the top. I don't know if you can see it, but this is when I was playing around, and I like that look. I mean, it's nice. So it's a nice soft, almost like a print, but I like bold. So that's when I decided to go in with that darker color, and you can see how that background just pops off the page. So that's when I discovered darker, brighter colors really make those backgrounds stand out. So now I'm going in with some picked raspberry distress ink here, and I am just inking up, making my own colored cardstock. And then I'm going to go in right here with the Distress, I can't say it. I'm going to just say Resist spray. And I'm spraying like little blobs of color here. And then you let it dry. And then here I am going in. I'm going to wet the paper first. And then I'm going to go in with some Seedless Preserves. Now, this is kind of a wild background. But that's what I was just playing. I'm telling you, this was me doing some experimentation while I was filming. So here's a look at that. Now I wanted to go back to that very bold print that we did. This one over here to the left we did with the Distress ink refills. When I ran that panel through my die cutting machine to kind of flatten it out because it had warped from all the water that we used, I put a piece of paper over the top and I got a print right there. So I got a second print totally by accident because I was running that panel through my cutting machine with no die cuts or anything. I was just simply using it to flatten out my cardstock. And ooh, I think that's so pretty. So anyway, here's a look at the backgrounds that I made with my first time playing. I literally have only played with them the duration it took for me to make this video. It's fun. I'm sure there's a billion more things that you can do with this resist spray. I can't wait to see different videos of people using them. But for now, that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching.